أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم لا سهلا إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. Now, in our last video, we reviewed flexibility. And then, just like as our practice, we start with our memorization. So we say Abun, Abaun, father, Umun, Umahatun, mother, Zawjun, Azwajun, spouse, Rajulun, Rijalun, man, Imra'atun, Nisa'un, woman. For those who are just joining, just turn to page 4 of Dream textbook. So it's on page 4. Waladun, Awladun, boy or child, Bintum, Banatun, girl or daughters, the Riyatun, offspring, Ibnun, Abinaun, Banun, a son or child, Akhun, Ikhwanun, or Ikhwatun, brother, Ukhtun, Akhwatun, sister, Tanzilun, revelation, Sodurun, Sudurun, chest, Famun, Afwahun, mouth, Lisanun, Alsina, tongue or language, Binaun, Bunyanun, Abiniyam, building or structure, Wajhun, Wujuhun, face, Kalbun, Kulubun, heart, Fuadun, Afidan, heart or intellect, Warakotun, Warakun, people or leaf, Baitun, Buyutun, house, Babun, Abuabun, dog, Gurfatun, Gurufun, Gurfatun, room, Kalamun, Kalamun, pen, Kitabun, Kutubun, book, Hayatun, life, Ma'un, water, Kalimatun, Kalimatun, word, Koreatun, Kuro, town, Makanun, Amakinun, place. And then our Muslim charts, Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, Muslimani, Muslimaini, Muslimaini, Muslimuna, Muslimina, Muslimina. The feminine Muslimatu chart say goes thus: Muslimatun, Muslimatan, Muslimatin, Muslimatani, Muslimataini, Muslimataini, Muslimatun, Muslimatin, Muslimatin. And then if you are currently watching these videos, that means you must have gone through the light versus heavy discussion or the light versus heavy review that we did earlier. So it's safe to recite the light Muslim chart here. So we say Muslimu, Muslima, Muslimi, Muslima, Muslimai, Muslimai, Muslimu, Muslimi, Muslimi. And then the feminine will be Muslimatu, Muslimata, Muslimati, Muslimata, Muslimatai, Muslimatai, Muslimatu, Muslimati, Muslimati. And again, it's not only enough to understand all this, Muslim, Muslima, Muslimi. It's also important to identify their exact place. If I just say Muslimatu, we should be able to say, yeah, this is Rafa. If I say, if someone tells us Muslimatun, we should be able to say, yeah, it's also Rafa. If someone say Muslimatin, we should be able to say it's either Rafa, it's either Nasib or it's Jab. So that's one of the perk or the benefit of memorizing this Muslim chart. It's not just for memorization's sake, it's for us to understand the lightness and then the heaviness. And then how to identify the differences one at a time or at the exact time needed. So now, inshallah, we are to discuss about how to identify partly flexible words. Remind me. So in the last videos we discussed about flexibility, what it means, how it's the correlation between flexibility and status, and then all those stuff like that. So we discussed why the now there are three types of flexibility. The first one, the fully flexible, three statuses, three unique endings. Non-flexible, three statuses, one ending, and then the partly flexible. That one, the one sitting on the fence. That one goes as three statuses, two endings. So you can watch that video for that. It's actually I think that's the 6 actually. So now here we have to discuss about how to identify partly flexible words, because the fully flexible words, they are easy to identify. First thing is that partly flexible words only the discussion of partly flexible words is based on words that have an ending sound. That's number one point. And then once we understand that, then we go further and say, okay, for us to identify fully flexible words, they are just the first column of the Muslim chart. The Muslimun, Musliman, Muslimin, that column, any words that falls into that column are fully flexible. They're easy to identify in that sense. And then the non-flexible words, which are called the mabni, they are also easy to identify. Either we see alf al-maksura, which is in form of ya, or a normal alf. Example is Hudan, Musa, or Zakaria. Those ones, they are easy to identify that, okay, Zakaria has an alif at the end, Musa has a ya, but it is an alif al-maksura. So we can easily tell that, yeah, that is an example of a mabni, any word that falls into that category. But non-flexible, the partly flexible words, which is known as mamnu min as-sarf, they're somehow tricky, and we need to understand their categories, because no matter how tricky they are, they still fall into one or two categories. So that is the main purpose of this um, discussion right now. So the first part, or the first segment, or the first subsection of partly flexible words are non-Arab names. Here we have non-Arab names are partly flexible, Arab names are fully flexible. This is like a corridor here, like something, a bullet to hold very, very well. Non-Arab names are partly flexible, Arab names are fully flexible. So anytime we see a non-Arab name, we just tag them we paint them with partly flexible color. We just say this color is color partly flexible. And then when you see an Arab name, we say this is fully flexible. So we have four Arab prophets' names mentioned in the Quran. We have Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Prophet Hud alayhi salam. This is Hudun, not Huda. Hudun, not Huda like we saw earlier. Now we have Salihun alayhi salam and Shu'aibun alayhi salam. It's important for us to memorize these four names. Shu'aibun alayhi salam, Salihun alayhi salam, Hudun alayhi salam, Muhammadun alayhi sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They are these names, they are the four Arab names mentioned in the Quran, and these names are fully flexible. We can say Shu'aibun, Shu'aiban, Shu'aibin, Salihun, Salihan, Salihin, Hudun, Hudan, Hudin, Muhammadun, Muhammadan, Muhammadin alayhi salatu wasalam. So that's that about the Arab names that are fully flexible. But what we are concerned here with what we are concerned here is all about the non-Arab names that are partly flexible. So we have Yusuf, the first example. So Yusufu in the Rafun status remains Yusuf. In the Nasib status, it turns Yusufa, pretending to be a fully flexible. But when it gets to Jar, we know the secret. Say we tell it, no. You are not a fully flexible word. You are partly flexible word. So we call it Yusufa in its Jar form. And then the same thing with Ismailu, the same thing with Ibrahim, the same thing with Yaqubu, and the same rule applies to Maryam. So we say Yusufu, Yusufa, Yusufa, Ismailu, Ismaila, Ismaila, Ibrahimu, Ibrahima, Ibrahima, Yaqubu, Yaquba, Yaquba, Maryamu, Maryama, Maryam. So those are the examples of non-Arab names that are partly flexible. So here are the fully flexible words, so that we can know that, okay, these names rather, they are fully flexible. It's just an explanation here, so don't let us get confused. As you can see at this right hand side here, partly flexible, they are tagged partly flexible, and at the right hand side here they are tagged fully flexible. So it's just an explanation that these are names of prophets, as I mentioned in the Quran, and they are non-Arab and they are partly flexible. But it's important for us to also know that there are fully flexible names of prophets that are Arab names. So We have Muhammadun, Hudun, Salihun, Shu'aib. So that's about that. And also there's now an exemption to the rule, because the rule we are concerned with here is that non-Arab names are partly flexible, while Arab names are fully flexible. But there's an exemption to this rule. The exemption is that if the name is a three-letter name with a sukun on the middle, then the name will be fully flexible. Let me recall. Is the main rule of non-Arab names is that non-Arab names, they are partly flexible, Arab names are fully flexible. But if that non-Arab name is a three-letter word name, that's just three letter, and then the middle name, the third letter, the second letter has a sukun in the middle, then that name will be fully flexible. That's the exemption. That's just the exception rather. So that's just it. We say Lutun is an example. We say Lutun in the Rafan status, Lutun in the Nasib status, Lutin in Jaw status. We say Nurhun in the Rafan status, Nurhan in the Nasib status, and Nurhin in the Jaw status. You can see they turn to fully flexible. Because of what? Because they are three-letter name with a sukun in the middle. That's just an explanation about that. And then the next segment, the next subsection is feminine names and uniquely masculine names. So, feminine names, names of females, and uniquely masculine names. Masculine names that are so unique that they don't have feminine counterparts. You can't say, you can't, twist them in a feminine way. They don't have a feminine version, then they are partially flexible. So that's a punishment for being too unique. No, I'm just joking though. Now here we have an example of feminine. Let's start with feminine. We have Aishatu in the Rafan status, Aishata in the Nasib status, Aishata in the Jaw status. We have Khadija in the Rafan status, Khadijata in the Nasib status, Khadijata in the Jaw status. You have Zainab in the Rafan status, Zainaba in the Nasib, Zainaba in the Jaw. Iman Rafan. Now, Iman Rafan, Iman Nasib, Iman Jaw. So that's a simple way to identify partly flexible names. Anytime you see feminine names, you know straight away they are partly flexible. Now let's talk about the uniquely masculine names. So unique, you don't have a feminine version, or their appearance looks like a feminine version. My name is not among actually. So here we have Hamzata, uniquely masculine. You can't twist it and say, okay, this is the feminine version of Hamzatu. No, it's not possible. Just like that's just it. It's not like my name. You can say Mubaraku or you say Mubarakatu. So that one has a feminine version. My name is fully flexible. But here, these are uniquely masculine names. They don't change. So Muawiyatu, Muawiyata, Muawiyata. They are partly flexible. Umaru, Umara, Umara. Partly flexible. Uthmanu, Uthmana, Uthmana. Partly flexible ones. So that's a straight in to identify these words. Now, these names rather, there's also an exception to this rule. Remember, the rule here is that all feminine names are partly flexible. Masculine names that have non-feminine counterparts, also known as uniquely masculine names, they are also partly flexible. But there's an exception. The exception is that any three-letter name with sukun on the middle, in the middle letter, they are always fully flexible. So that's an exemption to that. And then we move on to the third category, which is proper names of places. So proper names of places are partly flexible. We have my Katu, Makkata, Makkata. Yathribu, Yathriba, Yathriba. Jahannamu, Jahannama, Jahannama. If you look at all these examples we've been seeing from the beginning, we should note that there's there's never been any of these words, any of these names that has a tenwin on it. Because partly flexible words, they never take tenwin. They don't take tenwin. As we have learned earlier, as we said earlier, and we can just refer back to the former video and the page uh, on the dream textbook. Actually, I don't know which page is that. I think page 18. Yeah, page 18. The party flexible can also never take 10 ring. That's it. So yeah, proper names of places, names of proper places. Makatu, Makata, Makata, Sribu, Sriba, Yathriba, Jahannamu, Jahannama, Jahannama, Allah Ajirna, Ami, Rabbil Alamin. So now we have Al. What's if Al is added to the names of some places? So names of places, they are partly flexible. The same way we have exception to the rules above, there's also an exception to this rule. And also remember, we said earlier that when we want to make a partly flexible word, we want to turn it to a fully flexible word, we add al, or by making it a mudaf, if you can recollect. So here is an example of that case where al is added to the name of a place and then it turns the name to a fully flexible word. We have al-Iraqu, al-Iraqa, al-Iraqi. Because of the al, it turns to a fully flexible word. We also have al-Hindu, al-Hinda, al-Hindi. It turns to a fully flexible word. So that's an exemption. Now, also, there is an exception again, just like the first two. This one is also the same thing, that whenever we have a three-letter name, the name of a place, which is three-letter, with a sukun on the middle letter, then it turns fully flexible. So a good example here is Adinun, Adinan, Adinin. That's just a brief explanation and it's a summary of the four the three types of, or three categories of flexibility, and then the explanation of each, and then how to identify the type of flexibility of a word. So So another thing here to note is that in a vocabulary, in our vocabulary, partly flexible words will be denoted by having a single vowel ending, not a tenwin. Just as said earlier, partly flexible words, they don't take tenwin, they take single vowel ending. And as we memorize new vocabulary, we should make note of words which are partly flexible. So far, that is all that we have done about flexibility. Now, concerning next, because we have two more things to do here. We have this chart here. I'm thinking of drawing it live. If it's possible for me to just get a tool I can use, I'm going to just draw it live and make a brief explanation, and then this drill. So we're not going to do that in this video. We are going to move. I think we've spent 19 minutes, almost 20 minutes. So I think that's enough for a quick review of how to identify partly flexible words. So I pray may Allah make it easy for every one of us and count this as an act of ibadah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala